What's going on, you guys? My name is Brianna and I make faith-based content as well as natural hair and lifestyle here and there. So if that is something you are interested in, definitely make sure to subscribe and check out my other videos on the channel. Also, we upload every single Monday. So that, sounds like something that's in your interest. Definitely consider subscribing. Now let's talk about what we're actually here for. How to thrive in your 20s as a Christian. We're talking finances, family, friends, church, dreams, and much, much more. So I turned 23 back in July, and financially and job-wise, this year has really just been weighing me down. And at this point, and ever since this year started, I have really just been feeling like I am nowhere close to being where I thought I would be at the big age of 23. So because I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of feeling like I am getting nowhere in life, even though technically growth is growth, even if it's just a little bit, growth is growth. But when you just feel like nothing is happening, it can feel like, things are like down in the dumps, like, oh, things are not going well for me. They are going well for you, sis, bro. The Lord is on your side. But let me take you guys through the process that I actually took myself through last week in terms of friendship, in terms of church, family, friends. I think I already said that. Friendship, finances, your dreams, just all of these things. So I'm going to take you guys through the exact process that actually helped me now be able to obtain progress, but also make myself feel a little less lonely while I am still in my early 20s. Now, this is not one of those videos where you can just kind of sit through it and obtain all of the knowledge. You're definitely going to want to get out a pencil, a pen, whatever writing tool, and a piece of paper. Maybe write this in your phone notes. Do whatever you got to do, sis or bro, because you're going to want to obtain this knowledge further than your brain can accumulate it. Okay, you want to be able to go back to these notes and actually reinvent these things as you are progressing into your life. Thing number one is your dreams. How are you going to move your dreams forward? Or more so, is God actually allowing you to move your dreams forward? Now, I asked myself a couple of questions, and just as a little bit of background, I am a content creator, a YouTuber, TikToker, whatever you want to call it, like I create content. That's what I want to do full time one day, or one of my biggest dreams that I want to be able to do full time. So I have been asking myself three very specific questions. I'm going to kind of take you through the process on what questions I asked myself and why I asked the questions that I asked. What days will I record? What days will I edit? How often will I upload episodes for my podcast, for my YouTube channel? So how many videos, as well as my TikTok page. Now, me and you probably do not have the same dreams, but we are going to be asking similar questions. So something that I may have in common with you is, how can I get from here to there? How can I start off with where I'm currently at right now in my life to acquiring my dreams and acquiring what I want most in this life? And I asked the questions that I asked myself because they are, almost think of it kind of like SMART goals. So you want it to be very specific. You want it to be measurable. You want to think about how can you easily do this, but do it with efficiency and do it in a way that is actually going to allow you to progress to get to the place that you want to be at. For example, again, like I mentioned, one of my biggest dreams and one of my biggest goals is to become a full-time content creator. Now, I am uploading one YouTube video, which again is every single Monday, which means that I need to be recording YouTube videos and have them finished recording either Thursday or Friday. And by Sunday, it needs to be completely edited and completely already scheduled to go up Monday, which is my posting day. You want to get specific. You want to pinpoint what you're going to do, why you're going to do it, and what you're going to do, is that actually helping you get to where you want to be, or are you kind of just doing busy work to make it seem like you're progressing to where you want to go? Now let's get into friendships and relationships, because I feel like these are one of the most important, yet one of the hardest things to acquire, especially as somebody in your 20s and just wanting to thrive. When you're in your 20s or early 20s, at least, I feel like you're at that stage where you may be losing a lot of friends, or you may not be able to see your friends as often because they now have families, or they now have school to go to, they now work a ton, or they're just doing things that are not what you're used to. You know, y'all are not together all the time like you used to be in high school or prior. Now with this, you really want to make sure that you are allowing yourself to unify with your friends, or maybe unify with your significant other, which means you need to be doing check-ins, whether that is a weekly thing, whether that is a daily thing, whether that is a once a month kind of thing. I don't know what kind of relationship you have with your friends, but for me personally, I just like to be in the loop of what's going on in their life. So realistically, thinking about their schedule and thinking about my schedule, realistically, in person, we could probably meet at least once a month. In every single week, we can do those check-ins where we are having phone calls, or we are texting or sending voice notes or FaceTiming, whatever it is you like to do with your friends. That way, you're not taking up a ton of their time, but you're also still making sure that you're staying connected with them and respecting each other at the same time. And the same thing goes with your family. As somebody who is 23 years old, my sister doesn't live here anymore. I live with my mom, my dad, and my brother, but I feel like everybody is on different schedules that now it's kind of funny, because I feel like people are like, oh, I got to schedule a meeting just to have time with you. Like, that's crazy. You never have any time. People have lives. People have lives. So yeah, people laugh about it, but that's literally what you have to do. You have to ask them, okay, are you available Monday afternoon at 3 o'clock? We could talk for like 30 minutes or like even 15 minutes. Do like a short little check-in, you know, or this is my time that I have my hour break. We can talk at this time. You can call me, we can chit chat and, you know, just talk about what's going on with life. Do what you have to do, but also remember to respect the other person and respect what they also have going on. So this is why I always say revert back to SMART goals. So finding something that is specific, finding something that is consistent, you know, so you're not falling off. So am I doing this every week? Are we doing check-ins every week? Are we doing them every day? And not only how often are you doing it, but when are you doing it? What time are you doing it? Or what time of day are you going to be doing this, so that, again, it works for you and the other person? Because honestly, nobody wants to go through life feeling like they have nobody to talk to. And I feel like I'm low-key in that stage of my life where I feel like, oh, I don't have any friends, or, oh, I don't really get to see my family as much, you know. And of course, a lot of that does have to do with the busyness, and everybody has different stuff going on in their lives. But how much effort am I actually putting in to make sure that we are unifying and I'm actually able to spend time with them? Like, am I actually reaching out? Are they actually reaching out to me? Like, where's the connection? You know, you can't just sit there in your thoughts and be like, oh, I don't have friends, or oh, my family doesn't care about me. Well, have you tried to reach out? Have you tried to set aside a time to talk? It doesn't even have to be a long conversation. It could be a quick little 10-15 minute check-in, if that, you know, like, check up on your people, y'all. Check up on your people. Now, let's get into the finances part of this conversation, because I feel like finances are one of the biggest problems that we could probably feel like we have, especially as young adults and people who are trying to adults. Life has been lifing a lot lately, and for me, not in a good way. For me, not in a good way. I've had like 3 jobs this year. Hopefully, I'm praying and just hoping God gives me the strength to be able to sustain the job that he just blessed me with, which I know he will, because I love it and there's nothing wrong with it, you know, making the most money I've ever made in my life, and good people, just a good company overall. So it's something I'm super excited about, and just also want to put out there before we hop into it, the method and the questions that I had to ask myself when it comes to how can I actually increase my finances is I plan on making a pretty big purchase in 2024. So in about a year from now, in order to obtain all of the money that I'm going to need for this big purchase, I need to figure out how much money do I want to have by the time I make the purchase, but also dim it down a little bit. How much money do I want to have in my savings account? And how much money do I want to have in my checking account by December 31st, 2023? So pretty much the last day of the year. And I'm actually going to go ahead and I took a picture. I'm going to put it up on the screen so you guys can look at it. I don't want to hide anything. I want to make this as clear of a conversation as possible because finances can be very tricky. So keeping in mind how much money I make a week and how much money I make in a month, I estimated these two numbers. So how much I want to have in my checking account by the end of this month, as I'm recording it, the month of October, and how much money I want to have in my savings. So keeping in account how much money I already have and how much money I want to have and how much money I'm actually going to transfer or make sure it's put into those accounts so that I'm actually able to reach that goal. And it's not just like this made up number and be like, oh, I didn't reach it. Oh, well, there's always next month. Like, no, we need to have very specific numbers and make sure that I'm actually putting that 200 into the account per check so that I'm able to reach the total amount of money that I can have in my savings account as well as in my checking account. Now for me, I am a woman of God, so I do tithe whenever I get my checks. So 10% of all of the money that I get paid every 2 weeks, because that's when I get paid, goes to my church and for whatever they want to use the money for. 10% of that comes out of my check and goes to my church that I go to, but also I have rent, I have my phone bill, I have my down payment for a project that I can't really speak on right now, but I'm super excited about it. And I also will have monthly payments for that project as well. So taking into account all of that money that I'm going to need to save up, but also how much I'm getting paid from my job, and really just thinking about all of these things because they do add up. So not only how much is your income, like how much are you getting paid like every 2 weeks, or maybe you get paid every week, but also how much of that are you actually going to be able to keep, and how much of that are you actually going to have to use to pay bills or pay somebody back or sustain something that you have in your house or whatever it is, you know? So just really be in tune and be aware of not only how much money you're making and how much money you're going to receive for a certain amount of time, but also how much of that money is going to have to go elsewhere. That way you can focus on what you're left with, especially if you're somebody who doesn't plan on making a big purchase anytime soon and you're really just interested in growing your finances. So, you know, definitely take into account both of those things. And last but not least is your relationship building with Christ, but also with your church community. Now, this is something that I think probably took me the longest to figure out what I was going to do with it, because I've grown up in a Christian household all of my life. I've gone to church every single Sunday of my life, but every single Sunday I'm used to getting up and going to church. It's a routine at this point. At this point, it's a routine, you know? So I have actually made the decision to stop going to church every single Sunday. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go to church every first Sunday and every third Sunday of the year. Or sorry, not of the year, of the month. That would be crazy if I only went to church twice in a year. That's crazy. So why am I doing this? Why am I not going to church every single Sunday like I have always done? For one, I'm doing this because my schedule has changed drastically with everything that I have going on and everything that I would like to accomplish. But also, I feel like this is the most important thing. I do not believe, and this is actually biblical, the church, the building does not make up the church. It's the people that make up the church. So if that means me not going to church 2 times out of the month and watching online instead, I don't see a problem with that. And biblically, there is no problem with that. You know, I still have my relationship with God. I'm still enduring the word. I'm still reading my Bible. I'm still praying. I'm still connecting with other people. I'm just doing it in a different way that I'm used to doing it. And the last question that I really had to ask myself in terms of relationship building and community wise and going to church and whatnot is, how often do I want to serve in the church? Now, there are some people who have never served a day in their life because they just truly have never felt like they're ready for it. And, you know, if you feel like you're not ready for it, by all means, just continue to wait and continue to see how things go in your life and all of that goodness until you literally are ready and say, okay, I want to take that next step in my faith. I want to serve. But right now, I would just like to tell y'all that serving in church is single-handedly one of the best things you can do, because more likely the people that you're serving, you're going to learn more from them, or they're going to do more for you than you're doing for them, which is kind of like mind blown type of thing. But helping others usually has more of an impact on you. They usually have more of an impact on you than you think you're having an impact on them, which, by the way, is a beautiful thing. I have served in all kinds of ministries. I've served in kids. I've served with the youth. I've served with the elderly. I've served in the meet and greet team. I have served in the beverages area. Every single area that you can think of, I have served in it. And I think I have learned the most from kids ministry. The kids is wild, and as even afraid as some people might be to serve in kids ministry, I feel like everybody should do it at least once, just to get kind of a vibe and kind of see where God's heart is, because God says that children are a blessing. They can be hard to deal with, but they're still a blessing, and they are the future, you know? So why not build them up, kind of see what their thought process is. And I just have learned so much, you know, serving in kids ministry. But anyway, I'm a little off topic here. With my personal schedule in mind, but also keeping in mind my growth goals and how often and how much I really want to pursue growing with other people in my church, I have decided to dedicate serving at least one Sunday every single month. Now, like I said, I grew up in church, so I have done it all. I've served every single Sunday of the month. I've served 2 Sundays a month. I've served 1 Sunday a month. I have served multiple times throughout the week, because not only did I grow up in a Christian household, but I also have done 2 internships for 2 different churches that I actually attended at one point in my life. So trust me, I have done plenty of serving on Sundays and I've loved it. But I'm literally at the point in my life to where I want to focus a little bit more on my dreams, a little bit more on connecting with other people, and a lot more on relationship building with Jesus. So I am lowering the amount of time and dedication that I am willing to put into serving, because I want to make sure that I'm sustaining myself. I want to make sure that I'm still healthy. And above all else, I want to make sure that I'm serving the Lord well and not just doing it because I feel like I have to. But I feel like serving is something that you should do because you feel like you're ready, and because you have a passion for it, and because you want to, not because you feel guilty, or not because you feel like, oh, I'm a Christian, so I have to serve. Like, no. Do you mentally have the capacity to serve and give the time to the church and to the ministries that you are literally impacting? Thriving in your 20s is not impossible, but it is definitely something you are going to have to work on. And don't just take my advice and be like, oh yeah, Brianna, that's good. Don't just go back and look at your notes, but actually pray about this and actually seek God out in this and actually study his word and what he says about finances. See what he says about family, about friendships, maybe even about relationships. Remember to keep God at the center of everything you do, and you can do no wrong. With the Lord, anything is possible. In this video, a huge thumbs up and share it with a friend if it helped you and you got some value. And I will catch you guys in the next Jesus Talk. Mwah. Bye.